It's been said that the only thing you can count on in this life are death and taxes. But whoever said that clearly didn't realize that after all these years, a tall boy of AriZona iced tea still costs less than $1. How is that possible? Well, today we're going to take a look at how AriZona iced tea is still just 99 cents. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other beverages you would like to hear about. Okay, gang, listen up, because I've got an early tea time. In 1971, Brooklyn, New York natives John Ferralito and Dominic Dom Voltaggio finished high school and decided to become business partners in a beverage distribution business. They then saved up $200 and used it to buy a Volkswagen bus, which they used to deliver beer to shops in some of the city's most dangerous neighborhoods. Over the next decade, their business grew steadily, and by 1982, it had a fleet of 25 trucks. Having tasted success and liked it, Ferralito and Voltaggio figured they could make even more money if the beer they delivered was their own. So in 1986, they started a brewing company to make Midnight Dragon Special Reserve malt liquor. To the dismay of women's groups, Midnight Dragon was marketed with what some viewed as an outrageously sexist ad campaign. But the ensuing controversy brought a wave of free publicity, and the product was a huge seller. Knowing a good thing when they saw it, Ferralito and Voltaggio resolved to repeat their success, and in 1992, they launched another malt liquor brand, Crazy Horse. The pair claimed the name was inspired by Dances with Wolves, but some critics argued it was designed to stir up trouble with Native American groups, which did happen. Once again, the controversy drove sales, and Crazy Horse was a hit, and that might have been the end of the story. But somewhere around 1990, the two became stunned to see Americans start falling head over heels in love with the bottled juices and teas made by Snapple. Snapple, having been founded in Valley Stream on Long Island, was also a New York-based business. And Ferralito and Voltaggio figured if the Snapple folks could hit it big with non-alcoholic products, so could they. On May 5th, 1992, Ferralito and Voltaggio founded a new company, AriZona Iced Tea. The name was ultimately selected because Voltaggio wanted a brand that connoted a warm and healthy environment, and to that end, they were originally planning to call it Santa Fe Iced Tea, which was also a tribute to the adobe-style house Voltaggio lived in. But when he saw how it looked on the cans, he decided he didn't like it. Despite having never been there before or even traveled west of the Mississippi, he instead settled on AriZona. Why AriZona? Because Voltaggio had always associated AriZona with a healthy, clean, and dry feel. And that's all there was to it. To help their iced tea stand out from Snapple's, Voltaggio decided to sell it in the same 24-ounce cans he sold his malt liquor in. It was a cunning move, because the two products would have the same price, but Snapple's cans were only 16 ounces, so next to AriZona's, they looked downright tiny. AriZona's unique artwork also helped the cans stand out more. The iconic Southwestern-influenced designs were dreamed up by Voltaggio's wife, Eileen, who based the lemon tea can on her water cooler and the green tea can on her perfume bottle, as well as one of her son's coloring books. The art was then created by a local graphic designer named Jean Patine, who continued to function as a one-woman design department for the company for years after. The first AriZona iced teas rolled out in May of 1992, and it was an instant success. The product caught on quickly in their home base of New York, and the future looked bright. But before the company could expand its market, it ran afoul of some chaos. Chaos was an iced tea made by the Stroh's Brewing Company, and it was sold in the same 24-ounce cans that AriZona used. Even worse, Stroh's was using their corporate muscle to keep AriZona off the shelves in many places. It could have spelled doom, but Voltaggio made lemonade out of those lemons by releasing the company's now iconic wide-mouth 16-ounce bottle. It kept AriZona competitive until chaos threw in the towel, after which AriZona went back to emphasizing their 99-cent tall boy. The company would sell over 18 million cases of iced tea in its first 3 years alone. And the rest, they say, is history. Today, AriZona sells somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 billion 99-cent iced teas in a year. That accounts for over a quarter of the company's total revenue, which of course raises the question, where do the other 3/4 come from? Well, for one, their iced tea doesn't just come in tall boys these days. There are also bottles of the stuff. ranging in size from 11.5 ounces on up to a gallon, for when your throat is as dry as a tumbleweed. They also distribute a blend of iced tea and lemonade known as an Arnold Palmer, after the famous golfer, who's sometimes credited with inventing it back in the 1960s. It's unclear whether Palmer really created it, but either way, he never actually profited from the drink until 2002, when he struck up a deal with AriZona, allowing them to use his name in their marketing. By 2010, the mixture was generating over $100 million a year. And today, 1 million cans of Arnold Palmer are sold each day. And believe it or not, AriZona just doesn't peddle beverages. Alongside their flagship products, AriZona now makes packages of tortilla chips that come in flavors like nachos and cheese and salsa and chips. And since 2020, they've also made a line of fruit snacks that come in flavors like mixed fruit, green tea, and Arnold Palmer, the beverage. Of course, like every company, AriZona Iced Tea has had its share of difficulties. For example, in 2010, they faced a class action lawsuit claiming they were using artificial ingredients in a product they were advertising as all-natural. That case was eventually dismissed. But a few years later, 2 customers filed a similar suit claiming the green tea, which the company claimed contained ginseng, actually contained nothing of the kind. More recently, the company was sued for advertising its Arnold Palmer drink with the term light, spelled L-I-T-E. The suit claims the word implies the drink contains less sugar and fewer calories than similar drinks, which it does not. In 2019, the state of Arizona passed a controversial immigration law, which resulted in boycotts of AriZona Iced Tea. Despite its name, the company is based in New York, and the tea is brewed in New Jersey. The company eventually had to devote a portion of their website to clarifying they weren't from the Grand Canyon state and had nothing to do with the law in question. But the biggest challenge AriZona faced came from within. Sometime around 2008, AriZona co-founder Farolito decided he wanted to sell his share of the company to a big corporate beverage distributor. Voltaggio, on the other hand, was against the sale because he assumed it would cost many employees their jobs. The whole thing wound up in court, with Voltaggio pointing to a 1998 agreement that forbade either of them from selling their shares to outsiders. A judge sided with Voltaggio, holding that Farolito had to give his ex-partner a chance to buy out his shares first. It seemed like a good solution, except the two couldn't agree on a price. Voltaggio believed the company to be worth about $500 million, while Farolito placed its value between $3 and $4 billion. Ultimately, Voltaggio had to cut Farolito a check for roughly $1 billion, but it was enough to save the company. Of course, a major factor in AriZona Iced Tea's success is undoubtedly its price, 99 cents. That's why they print it right on the cans, although they didn't actually start doing that until 1996. And when they did, retailers absolutely hated it, since it made the product more difficult to mark up. The price of the ingredients in AriZona Iced Tea are pretty much always on the rise. So is the price of the aluminum in the cans, not to mention the gas it takes to ship them around the country and the salaries of the truckers who do the driving. In fact, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics price calculator, inflation should have raised the price of AriZona Iced Tea to well over $2 by this point. So the big question is, given all that, how is it possible that AriZona Iced Tea still costs just 99 cents? And the answer is, well, to tell you the truth, there are a lot of answers. Sorry, we know that's a little anticlimactic, like that movie Contact. For starters, AriZona has simply decided they would rather make less money than raise the price of the cans. In Voltaggio's words, I don't want to do what the bread guys and the gas guys and everybody else are doing. Consumers don't need another price increase from a guy like me. He's committed to the 99-cent price and would rather tighten the company's belt than pass additional expenses on to consumers. That belt tightening starts at the AriZona Iced Tea factory. And, like the Highlander, there is only one. No, really. While other beverage makers have factories all over the world, AriZona maintains a single factory located in Maplewood, New Jersey. That factory makes about 30% of their product, and the rest of their production is contracted out to independent beverage makers. That saves the company a fortune on maintaining all those factories, which is one thing that helps keep the price of the drink at 1 cent shy of $1. The factory is also constantly being updated with new technologies. As a result, the company can now make and bottle its product at double the speed they were achieving back in the 90s. They're also saving on materials. AriZona long ago switched to using recycled materials, which reduces the amount of aluminum needed for each can by roughly 40%. And in the interest of saving even more money, the company's drivers work mostly at night, cutting down on the amount of time they spend burning fuel while sitting in traffic. But here's what could arguably be the biggest factor in the tea's low price. There is almost no marketing whatsoever for AriZona iced tea. Think about it. When was the last time you saw an AriZona commercial or even a magazine ad? According to Voltaggio, he would rather put every cent possible directly into the product, which is why AriZona generally doesn't shell out for commercials or celebrity endorsements. It's the kind of grassroots marketing most companies can only dream of. If we read the tea leaves correctly, there's no reason to think the price is going to change anytime soon. Back in 2016, Voltaggio assured AriZona fans, "The cans are synonymous with 99 cents now. It's a big part of our allure. People really do appreciate that, and they'll always know they can head to their local store and our drinks will be 99 cents. They're still made in New Jersey, though. So what do you think? Are you a fan of AriZona iced tea, or do you prefer a brisk drink with more snap? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.